Good morning, good morning. Let me show you my mug. Hold on a second. I got this from the Dollar Tree. It was a new one that they had. It says, "What you talking about, Willis?" I love this mug. It's cute. And it's thick, so it keeps my coffee warm. Anyway, um, good morning, welcome, and thank you all for being here. I pray that you all are doing well and blessed. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all the things. And we're going to get started. We are in the book of Numbers. We are almost done with Numbers. We've got a few more days maybe, and then we'll be through the book of Numbers, moving on to Deuteronomy. And so we're trudging along here. We are keeping it up. I'm trying. I know I wasn't here yesterday. I had a procedure done, so I just wasn't able to get on. I thought I would after I got home, but yeah, I wasn't feeling good. So we are here, and like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start with Numbers 15. We're almost done with the book of Numbers. And every day I come on, or just about every day, I try my best to get in every day and do 30 minutes a day, read for you for half an hour. That way you can listen in while you're getting ready or, cleaning, cooking, doing whatever you want to do, just like an audio book. And that way you get your 30 minutes of, scripture in. And if you have missed all my previous lives or videos, I have the replays over on YouTube. There's a playlist with beginning from Genesis up until now. So if you want to go and check that out, I'd appreciate it. And I'm going to start reading here in just a second. But if you give me any gifts or hearts or anything like that, I appreciate it. I try to just keep reading and not look up too much so that I'm not distracted. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land where you live, which I am giving you, and you make a food gift to the Lord as a soothing smell for the Lord from the herd or from the flock, whether an entirely burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a solemn promise, or a spontaneous gift, or at your sacred seasons, the one presenting the offering to the Lord will bring a grain offering of 1/10 of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil. You will also offer 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering with either the entirely burned offering or the sacrifice for each lamb. For a ram, you will offer a grain offering of 2/10 of a measure of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. You will also present 1/3 of a hin of wine for a drink offering as a soothing smell to the Lord. When you offer a bull for an entirely burned offering, or a sacrifice to fulfill a solemn promise, or a well-being sacrifice to the Lord, you will present with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of a measure of fine flour mixed with a half a hin of oil. You will present a half hin of wine for a drink offering as a food gift that is a soothing smell to the Lord. So will it be done with each ox, each ram, or any sheep or goat. However many you offer, you will do the same for each one. Every citizen will perform these rituals in bringing a food gift with a soothing smell to the Lord. If an immigrant lives with you or has settled among you for many years and would also like to offer a food gift that is a soothing smell to the Lord, that person must do just as you do. The assembly will have the same regulation for you and for the immigrant. The regulation will be permanent for all time. You and the immigrant will be the same in the Lord's presence. There will be one set of instructions and one legal norm for the immigrant and for you. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I'm bringing you, whenever you eat the land's food, you will present a gift offering to the Lord. You will present a gift offering from the first bread you bake, just like you present a gift offering from the threshing floor. You will give a gift offering from the first bread you bake for all time. If by accident you don't obey all these commands that the Lord spoke to Moses, or everything that the Lord commanded you through Moses from the day of the Lord's command onward for all time, then if it was done unintentionally without the knowledge of the community, the entire community must offer one bull from the herd as an entirely burned offering, a soothing smell to the Lord, with its grain and drink offering according to the specific instructions, and one male goat for a purification offering. The priests will seek reconciliation for the entire Israelite community. They will be forgiven because it was unintentional and because they brought the food gift to the Lord, along with their purification offering in the Lord's presence for their accidental error. The entire Israelite community and the immigrant residing among them will be forgiven because all the people acted unintentionally. If an individual sins unintentionally, that person must present a 1-year-old female goat for a purification offering. The priest will seek reconciliation in the Lord's presence for the person who sinned unintentionally. When the sin is an accident, seeking reconciliation so that person will be forgiven. There will be one set of instructions for the Israelite citizen and the immigrant residing with you for anyone who commits an unintentional sin. But the person who acts deliberately, whether a citizen or an immigrant, and insults the Lord, that person will be cut off from the people for despising the Lord's word and breaking his commands. That person will be completely cut off and bear the guilt. When the Israelites were in the desert, they found a man gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses, Aaron, and the entire community. They placed him in custody because it wasn't clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man should be put to death. The entire community should stone him outside the camp." The entire community took him outside the camp and stoned him. He died as the Lord had commanded Moses. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, 'Make fringes on the edges of your clothing for all time. Have them put blue cords on the fringe on the edges. This will be your fringe. You will see it and remember all the Lord's commands and do them. Then you won't go exploring the lusts of your own heart or your eyes. In this way you'll remember to do all my commands. Then you will be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." Korah, Izhar's son, Kohath's grandson, and Levi's great-grandson, with Dathan and Abiram, Eliab's son, and On, Peleth's son, descendants of Reuben, rose up against Moses, along with 250 Israelite men, leaders of the community, chosen by the assembly, men of reputation. They assembled against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You've gone too far, because the entire community is holy, every last one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you exalt yourself above the Lord's assembly?" When Moses heard this, he fell on his face. He spoke to Korah and all his community. "In the morning the Lord will make known who is his, who is holy, and who is able to approach him. The one he chooses for himself is the one who will be able to approach him. This is what must be done. Korah and your entire community, take censers for yourselves. Tomorrow put fire in them and place incense on them in the Lord's presence. The man whom the Lord chooses, the one is holy. That one is holy. You Levites have gone too far." Moses said to Korah, "Listen, you Levites, isn't it enough for you that Israel's God has separated you from the Israelite community to allow you to approach him, to perform the service of the Lord's dwelling, and to serve before the community by ministering for him? He has allowed you and all your fellow Levites with you to approach him. Yet you also seek the priesthood priesthood. Thus you and your entire community have assembled against the Lord. But Aaron, what is he that you complain about him?" Moses sent for Dathan and Abiram, Eliab's sons. But they said, "We won't come up. Isn't it enough that you've brought us up from a land full of milk and honey to kill us in the desert, so that you'd also dominate us? Moreover, you haven't brought us to the land full of milk and honey, nor given us the inheritance of field and vineyard. Would you also gouge out the eyes of these men? We won't come up." Moses became very angry, and he said to the Lord, "Pay no attention to their offering. I haven't taken a single donkey from them, nor have I wronged any one of them." Moses said to Korah, "You and your entire community should appear before the Lord tomorrow. You, they, and Aaron. Every person should take his censer, place incense on it, and present it before the Lord. Each person will carry his censer, 250 censers in all, including you and Aaron." Then every person took his censer, placed fire on it, put incense on it, and stood at the entrance of the meeting tent with Moses and Aaron. Korah gathered the entire community with them to the entrance of the meeting tent. Just a second. Then the Lord's glory appeared to the entire community. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from this community so that I may consume them in a moment." They fell on their faces and said, "God, the God of all living things, if one person sins, should you become angry with the entire community?" The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the community and say, 'Withdraw from around the dwellings of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram.'" Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram. Israel's elders followed him. He spoke to the community, "Move away from the tents of these wicked men and don't touch anything of theirs, lest you too be wiped out for all their sins." They withdrew from around the dwellings of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrance of their tents with their wives, children, and little ones. Moses said, "By this you will know that the Lord sent me to do these deeds, and that it wasn't my own desire. If all these people die a natural death, or if their fate be that of all humans, then the Lord hasn't sent me. But if the Lord performs an act of creation, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them and everything that belongs to them, so that they descend alive to their graves, then you will know that these men disrespected the Lord." As soon as he finished speaking these words, the ground under them split open. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their households, including every human that belonged to Korah and all their possessions. They, along with all their possessions, descended alive to their graves, and the earth closed over them. They perished in the middle of the assembly. All the Israelites who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, "The earth may swallow us." Then fire went out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men over incense. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, Aaron the priest's son, to raise the censers from the fire and scatter the ashes about, because they are holy. Hammer the censers of those who sinned and lost their lives into the thin plates before the altar, since they presented them in the Lord's presence. They had become holy. They will be a sign for the Israelites." Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers presented by those who had been consumed by fire and hammered them into a covering for the altar, just as the Lord instructed him through Moses. This was a reminder for the Israelites that no outsider who isn't one of Aaron's descendants should approach the burn incense in the Lord's presence, so as not to be like Korah and his community. On the next day, the entire Israelite community complained to Moses and Aaron, "You killed the Lord's people." When the community assembled against Moses and Aaron, they turned toward the meeting tent. At that moment, the cloud covered it, and the Lord's glory appeared. Moses and Aaron came to the front of the meeting tent, and the Lord spoke to Moses, "Get away from this community, so that I may consume them in an instant." They fell on their faces, and Moses said to Aaron, "Take the censer, put fire from the altar on it, place incense on it, go quickly to the community, and seek reconciliation for them. Indeed, the Lord's anger has gone out. The plague has begun." Aaron took it as Moses said and ran into the middle of the assembly, for the plague had already begun among the people. He burned incense and sought reconciliation for the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague stopped. Those who died from the plague were 14,700, in addition to those who died because of Korah. Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the meeting tent once the plague stopped. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and take from them a staff from each household. From each of the chiefs of their households, 12 staffs. Write each person's name on his staff. Write Aaron's name on Levi's staff, for there will be one staff for the leader of each household. Then you will place them in the meeting tent in front of the chest containing the covenant where I meet you. The staff of the person I choose will sprout. Then I will rid myself of the Israelites' complaints that they make against you." Moses spoke to the Israelites, and each of their chiefs gave him a staff, one staff for each chief of his household, 12 staffs, and the staff of Aaron with their staffs. Moses placed the staffs before the Lord in the meeting tent. The next day Moses entered the covenant tent, and Aaron's staff of Levi's household had sprouted. It grew shoots, produced blossoms, and bore almonds. Moses brought out all the staffs from the Lord's presence to the Israelites. They saw what happened, and each person took back his staff. Then the Lord said to Moses, Return Aaron's staff in front of the chest containing the covenant to serve as a sign to the rebels, so that their complaints against me end and they don't die." Moses did exactly as the Lord commanded him. The Israelites said to Moses, "We are perishing. We are being destroyed. All of us are being destroyed. Anyone who approaches the Lord's dwelling will die. Are we doomed to perish?" And I'm going to, how much time do we have? We have 8 minutes. I can read this other chapter. The Lord said to Aaron, "You, your sons, and your household will bear the guilt of offenses connected with the sanctuary. You and your sons will bear the guilt of offenses connected with your priesthood. Bring with you your brothers from the tribe of Levi, your father's tribe, so that they can assist you and serve you and your sons before the covenant tent. They will perform their duties for you and the service for the entire tent, but they will not approach the holy equipment of the sanctuary or the altar, lest both they and you die. They will assist you, and they will perform the duties of the meeting tent with regard to all the work of the tent, but no outsider may accompany you. You will perform the duties of the sanctuary and the altar. Then there will no longer be any anger against the Israelites. I have taken your brothers, the Levites, from the Israelites. They are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord to perform the service of the meeting tent. You and your sons must perform the duties of your priesthood for all the matters of the altar and the area behind the curtain. I give you your priestly service as a gift, but an outsider who approaches will die. The Lord spoke to Aaron, I now place you in charge of my gifts, including all the Israelites' sacred offerings. I have given them to you and your sons as an allowance. This is a permanent regulation. This is what belongs to you from the most holy offerings, from the offerings by fire. All their offerings, including their grain offerings, their purification offerings, and their compensation offerings, the most holy offerings that they bring to me, will be yours and your sons. You will eat it as a most holy thing. Every male may eat it. It will be holy to you. This will also belong to you, your sons, and your daughters. I'm giving you the gift offerings and all the Israelites' uplifted offerings. This is a permanent regulation. Anyone who is clean in your household may eat it. All the choice oil, new wine, and the grains, fine first harvest that they gave to the Lord, I'm giving to you. The early produce of everything in their land, which they bring to the Lord, will be yours. Anyone who is clean in your household may eat it. Everything that is devoted to the Lord in Israel will be yours. Any oldest male from the womb of any living thing that is presented to the Lord, whether human or animal, will be yours. However, you will redeem the oldest males of humans and of an unclean animal. Their redemption price from 1 month of age you will calculate at 5 shekels of silver according to the sanctuary shekel, which is 20 gerahs. But the oldest offspring of a cow, sheep, or goat you may not redeem. They are holy. You must dash their blood on the altar and turn their fat into smoke for a soothing smell to the Lord. But their meat is yours. It will be yours just as the breast of the uplifted offering and the right thigh are yours. All the holy gift offerings that the Israelites raised to the Lord I have given to you, your sons and your daughters. This is a permanent regulation. It is a covenant of salt forever in the Lord's presence, for you and your descendants. The Lord said to Aaron, you will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have a share among them. I am your share and your inheritance among the Israelites. I have given all the 1/10 portions in Israel to the Levites as an inheritance. They are a reward for performing their service in the meeting tent. The Israelites will no longer be able to approach the meeting tent, or they will be responsible for their sin and die. The Levites will perform the service of the meeting tent, and they will be responsible for their own sins. This is a permanent regulation for all time. But they will not inherit land among the Israelites, because I've given the Israelites 1/10 portion, which they have raised to the Lord as a gift offering, as an inheritance to the Levites. Therefore I've said to them, they won't inherit land among the Israelites. The Lord spoke to Moses, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you receive the Israelites the 1/10 portion that I have given you from them as your inheritance, you also must present a gift offering to the Lord from it, a 10th from the 1/10 portion. It will be considered your gift offering like the grain of the threshing floor and what fills the winepress. In this way you will also present a gift offering to the Lord from all the 1/10 portions that you take from the Israelites. You will provide from it a gift offering to the Lord for Aaron the priest. You will present each gift offering to the Lord from all your gifts, from its best portions and its holiest parts. You will say to them, when you have presented the best portion, it will be considered for the Levites equivalent to the produce of the grain and the produce of the winepress. You and your household may eat it anywhere, because it is payment for your service in the meeting tent. You will not bear guilt after you have presented the portion, but you must not make the sacred gifts of the Israelites impure on penalty of death. And I'm going to go ahead and end there. Again, this will be posted on YouTube if you wanted to either rewatch it or you missed some of it. I'll have the replay over on YouTube here shortly, and then I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time because I do have another doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I'm going to try my best to get here early in the morning, and we will go from there. And that is it for today, guys. So I pray you all have an amazing day. Be blessed and be the reason someone smiles. Bye.